Hello, all you love lights. My name is Bonnie O'Boyle, and I am very honored to be here speaking at the ORI conference in 2022 in the spring. And I am also very honored to be a member of the OZARK Research Institute. This organization is making a significant contribution to the shift in consciousness of humankind. And they're doing that by something that is like the 100th monkey type of experience. And if you're not familiar with this, the 100th monkey experiment was conducted on an island, and some researchers who are studying these monkeys showed some of the monkeys on an island to wash their fruit. Now, these monkeys went and taught other monkeys, who in turn went and taught other monkeys, and eventually most of the monkeys, a good percentage of the monkeys on this island, were washing their fruit. When it got to a certain percentage that is what I like to think of as critical mass in the collective, other monkeys on a neighboring island who had had no contact with these monkeys spontaneously started washing their fruit, because the collective of our community influences us. And this is how ORI is influencing the world. Now, humanity has come a long way over the years, and there's a speaker and author named Ken Wilber who talks about this. He talks about the evolution of humanity, but also talks about how the evolution of humanity happens within each of us in our lifetime. But I want to focus on these three top areas. And there will be a link to this in the description below. But right now, we've been living a lot in the green area. And the green area of our evolution is basically live and let live. What's right for you is right for you. What's right for me is right for me. Let's not argue about it, right? And most people feel that way. And because most people feel that way, we are getting to where we're starting to enter more of this turquoise level. Now, in the turquoise level, we see us all as one. I'm one with you, you're one with me. So what hurts me hurts you, and what hurts you hurts me. And what benefits me benefits you, and what benefits you benefits me. And we're all here just working together as a collective to grow and to become into this clear light level. Now, in this clear light level, this is where the ascended masters walked when they were on this planet. They walked in that clear light level. They knew without a doubt that they were one with Creator Source God. They knew without a doubt that they were able to create with their intention and their words. Jesus didn't tell the woman who was blind, how long have you been blind? Have you been blind your whole life, or did you just turn blind? Because I'm not sure if I could do it if you were blind your whole life. No, he did not have any impression, any belief in people's conditions. He had more belief in his ability to do something about those conditions, to co-create with that person a different experience than he did in the condition. And Jesus did lots of things, right? He walked on water, he manifested and multiplied fish and bread. He could be heard as clearly by the person in the back row as the person in the front row when there were crowds of people that came to see him. He brought Lazarus back from the dead, but he also could heal. And his disciples were amazed at what he could do. And he said, "Why are you so amazed? You can do these works, and greater works will you do." And when Usui Shikiryoho, the founder of the current Reiki method, heard these words or was asked about these words by his students, he went on a lifelong quest that led him to rediscover the secrets of Reiki that many of us use today as we create healings in today's world. Now, there's also a speaker and author named Greg Braden that I enjoy listening to. And Greg Braden talks about that there are some refound scriptures that had been lost for many years, and one of those is the Gospel of Thomas. And he talks about that in the Gospel of Thomas, that the words that Jesus used instead of ask and you shall receive, the words actually were ask as if you are within the answer and it is given. And he tells a story, Greg Braden does, about being asked to go with a shaman to do a rain ceremony at a very sacred site, and for him to just be able to observe this. And so he and the shaman went way out into the country to find this sacred site. And there had been a great drought in that area for a really long time, and the crops were really suffering. And so they got to this sacred circle, and the shaman took his shoes off and went and stood in the middle of the circle for several minutes. And then he walked back out of the circle and put his shoes on. And when they got back in the car, Greg asked him, "Did you pray for rain?" And he said, "No, if I had prayed for rain, Great Spirit would know there's no rain. What I did was I smelled the rain, and I felt the feeling of the rain, and I felt the mud squishing in my toes, and I felt myself running through the corn crops that were thriving. Great Spirit has heard me." And rain did come, and it made floods, and it was, nourishing to the land, but was problematic for a while because there was such an abundance of rain. That shaman had big belief. So how do we increase our belief to be able to do more and to be able to create more and more miracles? Because it's the increasing of our belief that increases our ability. Now, I believe that the recent surge in technology is helping us along this evolutionary path. And it's kind of like the training wheels on a bicycle. And if you haven't ever worked with training wheels with a little kid, there are these wheels that go on the side of the back wheels, and they have different notches. So you start off where the kid has 3 wheels balancing them in the back, so they don't really have to balance much, but then you slowly move the wheels up so that kid gets a feeling of balance. Now, that's the same feeling of faith. And until we experience it, until we get out there and create some miracles, we don't understand really fully how it feels. So sometimes we need some practice to get to where we can do that. And so one thing that I can say that technology is helping us with is medical technology. We literally can bring people back from the death and do it every single day in this country. Somebody's brought back from their death with medical technology. You can swallow a pill and a camera can go inside and see what's going on inside of you. You can have x-rays to see what's going on inside of you with certain parts of your body. We can have laparoscopic surgery where you don't even have to be opened up for something inside of you to be fixed. But haven't we been able to do this for a while with energy? We can intuitively sense what's going on inside a person's body. We can use bringing through the light of God to heal those hurts and those difficulties. We can even do that with emotional hurts and help with the emotional side of it so that the physical healing sticks instead of coming back like so much cancer does after surgeries and chemotherapy. Many, many years ago, the telephone was invented. And when it was first invented, we needed wires so that we could believe that we could connect with somebody at a distance. But then we got wireless phones. And we knew we could connect without wires, but only when we were near the phone base, right? Because if you got at the other end of the house, it was like, yeah. I bet many of you even remember the old rotary phones, huh? Yeah, right. Then we got cell phones, and we believed we could connect with anybody anywhere. And now, as the wheels of the training wheels get moved up a little bit, we're getting to where we can connect wirelessly without the phone. Because how many of you have had the experience that someone calls just after you thought about them? Or you pick up your phone and then a text message comes in. Some people even hear their text message sound when it really doesn't happen. Maybe that's how we're getting a psychic signal, and that's just our first sign that we're learning to be able to get in psychic transmissions. Google allows us to know anything from anywhere, right? We all have Google on our phones. As a matter of fact, this generation is the most empowered generation of all time because they have grown up knowing that they know everything because they have Google in their pockets. But Google is teaching us that we can access universal mind. There are intuitive faculties. We can get all this information. We just have to practice that muscle and get better at it. And Google is helping us to know that we're supposed to know everything, that is our true nature, to have access to all. Is it possible that airplanes are teaching us we can fly? I know whenever I lucid dream, that's the first thing I want to do is go fly through the air. It's so wonderful and freeing. Jesus could be heard by the whole crowd that he spoke to. Now we have microphones, and rock stars and speakers can be heard by huge crowds. But even more than that, on movies and TV, we can send out a message across the entire planet. And for a while, only movie stars had access to that. But now anyone can access that through YouTube or through social media. We all have a global reach. We can do these works, and greater works will we do. We can reach more people now than anybody ever could in all of history. Isn't that fun? Yeah. So one of my very, very favorite ways that we're being helped is through movies and media. And I personally love superhero movies. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the ways that superhero movies are showing us our true potential and things that we already really can do. Now, one of my very favorite superheroes is Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange can manipulate time and space. He does all these like motions with his hands and manipulates time and space, much like you might see some people on the ORI Tuesday Night Call doing with their hands, right? They're sending distance healing, right, with their hands. And I myself have used Honjaze Shonen, one of the Reiki symbols, to manipulate time and space when I had way too many errands to run and only an hour to run them in before I had to be to work. I did like 7 or 8 errands in that hour, and everything just went smoothly any place I went, but I had plenty of time to be able to do everything that I needed to do and get to work on time. So we can manipulate space and time. Now, there is a cute little 10-year-old superhero named Dion in a TV show called Raising Dion that I really enjoyed. And he can heal, and that's one of his superpowers. But also, when he first got like a coach to help him to develop his powers, he goes like this, and then he goes like this, and he makes a tornado, and then he squashes the tornado. And his coach was like, "Did you just make up a superpower?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "How often do you do that?" And he's like, "Whenever I need to." We can make up superpowers with our intentions. We can create all kinds of things that our brains are going to say, "Oh, that's not real." But we can create these things. Now with Dion, he can heal, but he also has this ability to change things with his mind and create things with his mind. Also, the Green Lantern has this ability for all the old school people out there. And haven't we been being told for years by Mary Morrissey and Abraham Hicks and Gladys McCoy that we can create with our intention, that all we need is our loving intention to create different things in our reality. And it's true, we can create much in our reality. Xavier is the leader of the X-Men, and Xavier is a specialist in extrasensory perception. He can contact masses of people. And interestingly, he uses technology to reach more people as like an amplifier, but he shows us this ability that we have to have this extrasensory perception. And I would invite you to play some games with this. Like, find somebody else who wants to increase their ESP muscle and sit and get connected with each other's energy, and then start sending simple signs to each other first, like colors or shapes. Decide on a category and send that, and see how you do with that until you improve on your ability to do it, and then move to bigger categories like animals or states in the United States or whatever you want to name in your category. But you can use this to increase your ESP muscle. One of my very favorite superhero series has been WandaVision on Disney+. And WandaVision, I won't say too much about it because spoiler alert, right? But in WandaVision, a community is influenced psychically by a person. And I won't say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it for you. But did you know that we have already done something similar to this in today's day? There have been a couple of experiments with meditation to see if it can influence violence. One was in Washington, D.C., and they asked them to give the experimenters access to their crime reports and their crime records. And the chief of police said that the only thing that will reduce the crime rate in Washington, D.C. is if a blizzard hits. Well, a blizzard didn't hit, but the crime rate did go down significantly while these people were meditating on peace in that area. And so the chief of police had to admit there was something to this. You know, he was pretty intrigued by how it all came out. There was another experiment in the war-torn area around Jerusalem. And they measured this through a war index, which had several different factors. I think one of them was how many bombs were dropped. One of them was how many people were killed. Another was how many reports of violence happened. So they had these ways to see if there was more or less war activity in that area. And then they had groups of people meditate. And not everybody could meditate every day, so they kept count of how many meditators were meditating on each day, and that number would go up and down. What they found was that there was a strong correlation between the increase in the numbers of people who were meditating and a decrease in the violence. And the correlation was so strong that it was stronger than the correlation between taking a couple of aspirin and a headache going away. So we are powerful when we put our intention together. We are powerful when we work together for peace and to create different experiences and outcomes on this planet. The Flash is another one of my favorite superheroes, and Aquaman is another one of my favorites. And the Flash runs on water, and Aquaman breathes water. You know, is it possible we can do this? I don't know. It might be possible, though, in all the realm of possibilities. Is this something that's possible? Maybe it is. Maybe that's what Jesus was getting at when he said we could do these works, and greater works will we do. Finally, I want to talk about a group of superheroes that are just ordinary people. Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne, the Black Widow, the Green Arrow. These are all ordinary human beings who just got really, really good at a skill by practicing it, and then they become superheroes through their skill and practice. And I want to open you to the idea, and maybe they're opening you to the idea of that you are a superhero. There is a reason that you came to this planet in this great time of change. You came here to help with this shift. It's time to wake up. It's time to reach your full potential. It's time to find the superhero within you and to do these great works that you came here to do. So thank you very much for listening to my interesting and unique view about how technology is helping us along our path. Thank you very much to Gladys and the OZARK Research Institute, and to Joyce for making such a significant contribution to the shift. And thank you, beloved Spirit, for working through us and as us as we walk on planet Earth. So it is. Namaste.